Hey guys, I'm back again and I'm here to do my review of Washington Black. Now this book is the UK edition and it's very beautiful, as you can see. You have that on both end papers right there. And that's Essie Adujan. Washington Black begins as a slave story, and it starts in 1830 in Barbados on a sugar plantation, which is being run, or should I say, the old master has died and the new master's taking over, and the new master's name is Erasmus Wild. Erasmus Wild is brutal, disgusting, heartless, awful. So he takes over the plantation and things will never be the same for these slaves. At the beginning of the story, there is a dinner party, and at the dinner party is Christopher Wilde, and Christopher Wilde is Erasmus's brother. Now, Christopher Wilde is not exactly the same kind of character. He is an abolitionist, he is a naturalist, he's an inventor. He is the complete opposite of his brother. He is working on an invention called a cloud cutter, which is very similar, I think, to what is pictured here on the front of the book. And in order to finish this invention, he needs someone to help him. So he needs someone who can ride with him. It has to be someone who's kind of small. So at this dinner party is Washington Black with another slave. And the moment that Christopher lays eyes on him, he says he wants to use this slave to help him with his invention. So his brother Erasmus agrees, allows the slave boy to go and work with Christopher on the invention. Now what happens is, from the moment Washington Black, who is a slave of about, at the time, 10 or 11 years old, who is working in the fields on a sugar plantation, so this is hard-ass work for a little kid of 10, 11 years old. The moment he goes to live with Christopher, his whole life changes. He does different chores, he has more freedom, he wears shoes and clothes, and he cooks, and he does a lot of things that he couldn't do before. And he also discovers that he has the talent to draw, and he is an excellent artist. So that helps Christopher, who is alias Titch, and they become quite close. So close that it does not make his brother Erasmus feel very comfortable, and he wants his slave back. So the story continues on from there. I won't tell you what happens, but I will tell you that the book is separated into 4 parts. Basically, you are going to follow Washington Black from 1830 in Barbados all the way until 1836 in England. Each part has, is a different journey for Washington Black. So there's a lot of traveling to a lot of different countries, and that's what makes the story very interesting. The book has, for me personally, a feel of a Huckleberry Finn. Huckleberry Finn, I say that because, the travel aspect of the black slave man and Huckleberry Finn. And in this one, it's the white man and the slave boy. But I would say Huckleberry Finn / Jules Verne, because it kind of has that feel. It's the late 19th century, and the writing is in that kind of old style, which she does very well. It flows really well, and she tells the story in a way to make you want to know what's going to happen next. This is a 400 and something page book, like maybe 410 pages. But you do not feel that it's 410 pages. It reads extremely quickly, and it's very interesting to see how she's going to develop these characters within this out of the ordinary kind of story for the time period with black character who's a slave. That's all I'm going to tell you about that in, discussing the story, because it's hard to talk about this book without talking about, the storyline. But what I will say is also that the themes are more than just, this is more than just an adventure story. There are other themes lying within the storyline which are very interesting. And one of the main ones is this idea of freedom. What is it to be free? And as you read on, you realize that even the white men who you assume that they feel that they're free are not exactly free. So you have Titch. He's not free because society and his family want him to do one thing and he wants to do something else. So he's not free either. The Christopher, or say Titch's father, Titch and Erasmus's father, he's not free either. He steals his freedom. Then of course you have Washington Black. He's not free. He's a slave. But that is an interesting aspect of freedom. But then there's another aspect, which is all of the different male relationships they have in the story. So you have the relationship between Titch and Washington Black, which kind of is like it's not like a friend relationship. It's almost like a father-son relationship, mostly because of age. But then you have this terrible relationship between Erasmus and Titch and their cousin. This is kind of whack, but it is what it is. You also have the relationship between Titch and his father. So there's a lot of things you could be looking for while you're reading the story. It's not just them bouncing around to different countries. There's also the idea of science and how do people of science, how do they look at other people and their condition, and do they consider the animals more important than the people? You also have the idea of, can this black man, this young black man, ever really be free? Ever really be considered a scientist? Ever be, considered anything important? And just looking back at family and, knowing your family and knowing where you belong and feeling like you belong. So there's a lot of things going on in here. I mean, that's just a little bit, just to scrape the top. But as a whole, I would say definitely read this book. Washington Black, as you know, was on the Man Booker long list and has been shortlisted. So I'm crossing my fingers that Essie Adugin wins. She would be the first black woman to win the Man Booker if it happens. I will also say that she has drastically improved her writing since Half-Blood Blues. I enjoyed reading Half-Blood Blues. I did not enjoy the ending of Half-Blood Blues. It made me throw the book. You know me when I start throwing books. But this one is a stark improvement from her writing before. This one kind of has the kind of feel of the writing of Barkskins or the Luminaries, if you've read, either of those two. It's because it is late 19th century, so the feel of the book and the writing has to be on par, and it is. The writing is on par. That's all I have to say about the book. I strongly urge you to pick it up. It's a very out of the ordinary read, but it's an interesting read, and I think a lot of people are gonna like this one. So that's all I have for you today. I keep my fingers crossed for Essie Adugin, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Bye.